All right, yogis. So we'll go ahead and begin our class today. And let me say a little bit before we start. So we'll be spending a very much time on your back. And there'll be a little bit of rocking, a little bit of rolling. You might, if your floor is really hard, it might feel good to put some kind of padding over your mat, like a blanket on top or something like that. And for props, if you have some sort of strap-like implement, that'll be great. If you have a stretchy one, that's even better. But if you don't, just anything will be fine. I see that's a good-looking strap you got there. And also, if you have blocks, I'll suggest blocks too, but not required. So this will be this sequence actually I learned from a teacher in Los Angeles, Trina Altman, and it's a play on figure 4. So if you're familiar with, we've all done this one a million times, it's figure 4. So we're going to do a big variation with our figure 4. So we'll go ahead and start laying down on your mat any way that you're comfortable for the moment. So legs bent or straight. Also be sure that you have space on your sides, on the right side and the left side. If it feels good for you to close your eyes, allow the eyes to close and your face to relax. And give yourself a moment just to transition from the rest of your day to this moment here and now. And imagine that your body were lying not on your yoga mat, but in sand. And just take a little check and notice how your body imprints into the sand. And get a sense of where the grooves are. Check in with your breath. And then just very gently start to move your head from side to side, like you were saying no. It's a nice gentle movement here. And then let's let the head settle and give the arms a little bit of a stretch. Maybe reach back behind you. Maybe the legs reach out in front of you, and just take any sort of little wiggles and whatever feels good. And then let's just bend the knees, feet on the floor, and you'll hold on to your left foot with your right hand. And from this starting position, just start to move the leg towards straight and then re-bend. And take a couple rounds of that back and forth. And you can experiment here with the angle that the leg is taking. So you might do one with the leg up in the direction of your head. You might take the leg a little bit across the body. And it never has to go completely straight here. It may or it may not. I'm getting all sorts of crackles in my joints today. That might be happening to you too. And then let's pause here, continue to hold the foot, and now let's hold the head with your left hand. And as the leg goes straight, you'll lift the head up. And then you'll bend the knee and put the head down. So take that a few more times, and again, you can experiment with the exact direction that the leg is going. You can experiment too with the direction that the torso is going. So you might lift straight through the middle. You could go a little to one side or take kind of a side bend with it. Just a few of these more. All right, And then let's pause, set the foot down. Just pause with both feet on the floor, knees bent, arms down beside you. And notice here if your imprint in the sand has changed at all. Notice the two sides of the body next to each other. And then from here, let's come up into a seated position, Baddha Konasana, with the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. And sometimes in Baddha Konasana, we'll try to bring the feet really close into the groin. For this version, let the feet be out and then have the hands behind you, and just for a moment, let yourself slump down a little bit. So the shoulders come up and forward, the head will drop down. We don't normally encourage this position, at least for too long. And then press into the floor and come out of the slump. So a nice lift. And we'll go back and forth with this. It's very similar to a cat-cow. And just like when we were moving the leg, you can experiment a little bit with this one. So maybe for one round, you lead the movement with the tailbone. Maybe one round, you lead the movement with the head. Maybe for one round, instead of just a back and forth, you hold the position for a moment longer. Yeah, so try a few things out just for yourself. Flexion in and extension through the spine. All right, friends, so we'll pause here. And just in the middle, let's take a cross-legged position with the left leg in front of the right leg. And you'll hold on right hand to left foot, just like when we were lying down. And then from this position, let's lift the foot up and let the back round. And then you'll put the leg back down and sit up. So very similar to what you were doing laying on your back, but now we're sitting up. And you can experiment with what the leg is doing and what the spine is doing. You might take around where the foot is pushing, which will in return kind of pull on the upper back. You might take around where it's more of a pull with the arm. Just a few more of these on this side. And then let's take around here with both hands on the foot and just hold in the leg up position. And yes, the back will be rounded for this one. And just hold, hold, hold. And then let's take a few more with both hands on the foot. Make it a little extra pull in the upper back when you do it this way. All right. So from here, let's release the leg just back to your cross-legged position. And then we'll come onto your back again, knees bent, feet on the floor. Take another little check-in with your imprint into the sand. So we're still on the same leg. Left leg comes up. If you can hold on with both hands, do. If not, just the left hand. For this one, we'll take the left knee out to the left side and the whole torso will rock a little bit. And then we'll come back up to center. Do that a few times, and just like with the other ones, you can experiment with the angle of the leg. So maybe you do a round with the knee really close to the shoulder. You can try with the knee turning more just straight out to the side. Now I'm keeping my knee bent the whole time, but if you wanted to go straighter when you come back to center, you could. You could try that. Great. All right, friends, let's pause. Put the left foot back down on the floor. And now let's keep the knees bent, but take your feet wide, about as wide as it matter, even a little wider. And now just for a second, we'll work with the right leg. Let the right knee drop in towards the midline. Internal rotation. And then up we come to center. So do that a few times with just the right leg moving. All right, so we're going to put all of these things together here. Let's come back to center. Make your feet not quite so wide. And pick up the left leg again. Hold on to both hands here if you can. And then when you're ready, let the left leg go to the left, the right knee drop in towards the middle, and the whole body kind of rocks to the side. And then you'll come back up to center. So try that a few times. And maybe when you go to the side, the foot pushes a little more into the hands. Yeah. Now option, you can just keep doing this where you're just kind of going to the side, or a little bonus here. Next time you come to the side, see if you can stay holding the foot and come upright in the torso, like a seated position. And then you'll come back down onto the back and down. Now, you may or may not have luck with this, but a few things to try. I'll just throw it out there because you might find some work better than others. When you go over, you can try straightening the leg more, and that'll give you a little extra push. Another thing to try is to let when the right leg turns in, kind of lift it up a little bit, and that might give you some momentum to come up. Yeah. So try to just do what you need to do to figure out this little movement puzzle. And I guarantee the two sides will feel different. So don't fret if this side is not working out. It might go great when we get to the second side. Yeah. Let's just try one more for better for worse. And then once you're back to center again, just take a moment and check out your body's imprint in this sand. Knees can be bent or straight. Even if you never made it up, I'm guessing the left side of the body now feels quite different than the right side. Right, so you better do the second side. We'll start at the very beginning here. So pick up the right foot and hold on with the left hand. And then let's start our bend and straighten of the knee. And already this side is just not my side today. It's feeling really tight. You can experiment with the direction. So you might take more of a out to one side or out to the other. You can, I didn't say this on the other side, you can also experiment with where you're holding on the foot. So it might work better to hold the heel or closer to the toes. Up to you. All right, and then let's pause in the center, continue to hold the foot, and then pick up your head and hold the head with the right hand. And now as the leg goes straight, go ahead and lift the head up, and then we come back down. So take this one a few more times, and you can add on anything with the torso. So maybe you take a little bit of rotation. Maybe you take a little bit of side bend. Let's try a few things out here. Okay, and then after your last one here is complete, we'll release the leg. Take a little check-in, notice your body in the sand. And we'll come back up to sit in our Baddha Konasana shape, so the feet together, the knees out wide. And start with that slumped, kind of hunched position. And then we'll grow out of that into our spinal extension. So take a couple of those here. And just like the other one, I'll just throw out some possibilities, but you do you here. Maybe you lead the movement with the head, it travels through the spine. Maybe you lead with the tailbone. Maybe you try just holding for a second. Maybe you take a round that's really, really small. Just a few more here. And then we'll pause. Let's take the cross-legged position with the right leg in the front. And then you'll hold on to the right foot with the left hand. Anywhere on the foot is fine. Lift up. And then you'll go towards straight as the back rounds. And rebend and come back to center. Take that a couple of times. You can play with your angles here. All right, and then if you can hold both hands on the foot, do that. Let's hold the up position and push the foot into the hands, and that'll give you a little stretch in between the shoulder blades. Just hold that for a second. And yes, you're very rounded in this version of the pose. And then we'll go back and forth. If you can keep the two-hand hold, do that. All right, and then from here, let's release the leg, come down to your back and take just a brief check-in again. Your imprint in the sand. And then we'll take the right leg up again. Hold on with the right hand or with both hands if you can. And now we'll go out to the side and let the whole body rock a little bit. And then back to center. Do that a couple of times. You can change the angle that the leg is facing. And just, if you're noticing the two sides are very different. For me, the left side was like butter. It was nice and smooth. And this side is like grape nuts. It's it's really crunchy. All right, so let's add on. Well, release the leg and take your feet kind of wide on the mat. Knees are bent. Now it's just the left leg. It'll drop in towards the midline and back to center. Do that a couple of times on the left side. Kind of a one-legged windshield wiper, but we're not moving the whole body yet. Great. And then we'll pause. I'm going to spin around just so I don't have my back to you here. And we'll add it all together. So let's hold both hands on the right foot. And as you're ready, rock right side of the body to the right, the left knee in towards the midline. And then back up to center. Do that a couple of times. First, just testing it out before we come all the way up. If you're going for it here, next time you go to the side, can you make your way all the way upright in the torso? And then over to the side and back down. Yeah. So just try out a few different strategies here. I'll just say stuff, but you explore on your own. You might try really pushing the foot into the hands. For some of you, that might help. Yeah, for some of you, letting the left leg kind of give a little push and then lift, that might help. Some of you will say, yeah, this side is just not doing it, and that's cool, that's fine. The benefit of doing this is not achieving the final product, it's all of the movement pathways we've taken along the way. So next time, I'm rolling all over the place. Next time you're back down, we'll release the leg and just take a little check-in here. Your body in the sand. Take a breath in and a breath out. Notice where the grooves are, if they're any groovier than they were before. Notice the right side of the body and the left side next to each other. Great. And then we'll shift gears. We'll do a different pattern here. Let's just move a little bit through the ankles, the wrists, maybe stretch the arms up, take any kind of little wigglies here. And then for our next thing, we'll use a strap. If you don't have a strap, I'll show you what you'll do instead. You'll just hold your hands behind the thighs and reach the legs up. If you have a strap or something strap-like, you'll put that over your feet with the legs up. Now from your position here, just with both sides will bend and straight. And a little bit similarly to when we were doing the other movement patterns here, I'll give you a few things to try. So next time you bend the knees, pause here and let the tailbone kind of curl up towards the ceiling. And then slowly when you straighten the legs, can you bring the tailbone more towards the floor? Yeah, so you might have a little bit of an arch in the lower back. And then do that a couple of times. So you just curl up the tailbone when you bend, and then tailbone towards the floor when you straighten. One more time like that. Great. And then let's pause with the left leg still up in the strap. Remove the right leg, and you can have the right knee bent or straight, up to you. And then we'll do just the left leg, so the bend and straighten here. And you can experiment with what the pelvis and what the tailbone are doing. So you could do a round like we did before with that kind of tuck and untuck. You could try around staying tucked in the pelvis the whole time. The other way. Yeah. Great. At any point, if the hands need a break, take that for yourself. You could wrap the strap around the hands. We're going to be here for a while, different leg things, but same arm things. That's it. And then we'll switch to side two. So right leg up, left leg down. And then, of course, if you don't have a strap, you can just do this holding behind the thigh instead. Just like before, you can experiment with what the pelvis is doing. You can try around with the leg kind of going towards the foot towards the head, and another round with the foot moving away from the head. Great. And then let's pause here, keeping the right leg up, and go ahead and straighten the left leg down on the floor. Move both straps into the right hand. And we didn't do this on the other side, but we will. So we'll take the right leg slowly out to the right, but only go as far as you can keep control on the left side. So you don't want the left side to pop up. And then from here, hold the position, but back off of your hand hold and see if you can just use the leg to come back without the arm bringing it. Do 3 of those. So that was 1. Go out to the side, any amount, but keep the left side down. And then back to center without the arm pulling the leg. Let the leg pull itself. And then one more time, just like that. Great. And then let's pause here and reset so you have one hand on each side on the strap, still on the right leg. And just draw some little circles up here at the foot on the ceiling. And then the other leg, other direction. Okay, now from here, some of you are familiar with my June bug. This is kind of a version of that. So from your position here, press the leg firmly into the strap so much so that the body starts to roll up. And we'll come all the way up until you're into a seated position. Yeah. And then we'll go slowly all the way down. See if you can make the movement very smooth as you're going along. And just take a few of those. So the foot presses so much into the strap that your body has no choice but to come up. And then we go back down. Great. Let's take just one more of those. And all the way back down. Okay. So we'll change legs. Let's put the left one up. And again, if you need to shake out, wiggle the fingers, take a second. Let's keep the right leg for the moment actually can be bent or straight, up to you. But we'll put both straps in the left hand. As we take the left leg left, keep the right side of the body down. So that'll limit how far over you go. And then from here, back off with the arm and let the leg just bring itself back up. So a little bit of work through the inner thigh. Let's do that 2 more times on this side. So over we go, but not so far over that the right side loses it. And head back to center. Yes, last one here. And back to center. 2 hands, 1 hand on each strap, and then circle. And then I'm not showing all the options without a strap, but of course you could just circle the leg by holding it if you don't have the strap. And same thing when we do the roll up, you can just keep the hands behind the thigh. We'll circle the other direction. Okay, friends, and then pause. Here we go. So you'll press the leg forward so much so that the back rounds, and then up we come to sit. And then we'll re-round to go back down with control, nice and smooth in the motion. Take that a couple of times. Great. Okay, pause. We'll just take a little hand break for a second. Remove the legs, wiggle out the fingers. You can do a little windshield wiper with the legs too. All right, friends. And then we'll go again, this time both legs up in the strap. So we were here before, but now we're going to do the roll up with both legs. And sometimes this one's easier if you wrap your hands around the strap. So I'll let you decide. And then we'll press the legs forward and then round up to come up to sit. That's it. And then we'll round down. You might have to slide the hands a little when you come back. And I'm just going to show how this looks without the strap, if you don't have one. Yeah. So take another 1 or 2 more of these. Great. And then we'll land on the back, and now we'll kind of put a bunch of things together here. So let's keep the right leg up, put the left leg down, and move the strap into the right hand. So from here, have the left arm out to the side. Let the right leg go out to the right, but then instead of coming back to center, you'll bring the leg, you might watch me for a second actually, bring the leg towards the other leg and come up to sit, kind of making a little half circle. And then you'll go out to the side to come back down in reverse. Yeah? So let's try that a couple of times on the right side. A little circle pattern to come up. And a little half circle to get back down. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Let's do just last one here. Now be sure that it's not the head pulling you up. Yeah, you want it to be the momentum of the legs a little bit here through the core. Let's swap sides and just try it out. So the right leg is long, left leg is up in the strap. Both hands are on left hand is on both straps. As you're ready, leg goes out to the side and then up. And then we go out to the side and down. A couple of those. See if you can make it nice and smooth. And if you have a choice, the stretchy band, it's a lot easier and a lot more fun actually than it is with a straight strap. But we have what we have here. Alrighty. And then when enough is enough, we're done. Release the leg. Let's put the strap aside. Wiggle out the fingers, wiggle out the legs. We're just going to do one more thing here on your back. That is, it kind of resembles some of the other stuff, but no props this time. So let's lay down and interlace your fingers except for the pointer. So like a Charlie's Angel hand. And then from here, let's take both arms and shoulders over to the left side. The pelvis stays on the floor, but the torso will twist. And then come back to center. Do that 2 more times. So we go over to the left again. And then back to center. And then we're going to add on. So let's still go to the left, and then come slightly forward with the hands. So it's like kind of a sit up almost on the side. Not a sit up, like a crunch, and then back to center. To do that again, over to the side and forward with the arms. Great. Now, from here, you can keep doing either the first or the second version, or next time you go to the side, you can come all the way up and reach towards the feet, and then reverse the direction on the left side all the way back down. Now let's try 2 more of whatever version you're doing. Yes, and then we're back down. Change so your fingers are interlaced. Have the other thumb on the top. It should feel kind of weird. We'll start just small. So both arms go to the right. The shoulders will turn to the right, but the pelvis stays down. And then to center. Let's go 2 more times, just like this. And then adding on that kind of halfway, so we go to the side and then come up a little bit. And then reverse the direction to center. Take 2 more of those. Now, even if this is too much, just stick with the first part. And then if anybody would like to add on coming all the way up, next time you go out to the side, oh, this side's harder for me, we can the center, and then go out to the side and back down. Do 2 more, whatever version you're doing. Oh. And then when you're done, we're done. Just take a moment. Let's check out your imprint in the sand. Take a breath in and out. Yes, yogis, the time has come to come off of our backs. So we'll just first bend the knees. Bring the knees in towards your chest. Take a little bit of anything kind of movement. Anything goes. And then when you are ready, we'll turn over to all fours, position hands and knees. Now, if you had a blanket down the length of your mat, feel free to take a moment to get rid of that so your hands have a more sticky surface. And now here we are in our all fours. Let's just move through cat-cow. Any way you want to do it is fine. All right, and then let's pause here just in neutral. Take the hands just a little forward and the right leg back with the toes tucked under, and give yourself a little push back and forth just to stretch out a little through the foot, ankle, and calf. And then we'll switcheroo to side two. Take a few rounds there. Great, and then let's pause. Tuck your toes under here, lift the knees, keep them kind of bent, and try to press them out forward with your hands so the hips can go back away from the hands. Slowly start to let the legs go straighter here, downward dog. And can you believe it's our first down dog? Class is more than halfway over. If you want to bend and straighten, you can pedal out the legs, you can shift the hips, you can turn your head back and forth. Just take whatever you need here. And then from here, let's take the feet wider apart. You can keep that little pedal going. And then we'll pause, bend both knees and walk your hands to the back of the mat and just prop up so the forearms are on the thighs. We're in this sort of squat shape. Draw the pelvis back and the rib cage forward. Elongate a little bit through your spine. On the next inhale, we'll come all the way up to stand. Lengthen out long through the whole body. And release the arms. Keep your feet kind of wide, bend the knees slightly, and just take a standing slither asana. It's moving around like this. Nothing specific here, just to create movement. Yes, so we'll let the movement settle down. Stay at the back of the mat and find your mountain pose, feet just right underneath you. Inhale, arms all the way up over your head. On the exhale, we'll come down into a forward fold. Halfway up, we lengthen. And then we'll go down here, walk the hands forward until you get to plank pose. And we won't stay for too long, just for a sec. From your plank pose, can you clear the shoulders and zip up through the belly? It's a nice active plank pose. And we'll put the knees down first, bend the elbows lower all the way down to the belly. And like we did a second ago standing in our slither, let's do slither cobra. So one shoulder and then the other takes a little roll and just move a little bit from side to side. And that's it. And then we'll pause here in the center. Lift the shoulders away from the floor and point the elbows to the back of the mat. Without moving your hands, pull the hands to the back of the mat and the ribs towards the front of the mat. Another version of cobra here. And then we'll back out of that. Let's head into downward facing dog. And then from your downward dog, we'll come to the top of the mat, feet forward. Root down to rise up. Inhale the arms. And we'll release the arms. So we did all of that various kind of figure four stuff on your back. And I, on purpose, didn't give you a whole lot of alignment pointers because I wanted you to explore different ways. For the next thing we'll do, similar hip position, but I want to be really specific with the foot. I'm just going to come close so you can see my foot. So when we get there, and it won't be in this position, the foot will actually be on the floor, but see the position of my foot and the ankle? We don't want it to turn into this. Yeah, so we want to be here. The floor will be right there, so you'll go to kind of the pinky edge of the foot, but often there's a tendency to do that, and we don't want to do that. So from here, if you have blocks, I'll suggest the blocks on the medium height, or if you only have one, that'll work too. If you don't have blocks, you could use a chair, or you could put hands to the wall. We'll have the right leg forward and a little to the left. So let me show on the blocks. So you'll start with kind of a plank pose, and then the right foot steps forward, but to the left side, and you're on the pinky side of the foot, coming into that ankle alignment I just showed. On the inhale, you'll bend the right knee and lift the chest. On the exhale, you'll lift the hips and try to bring the sole of the foot towards the floor. So do that a few times. If you're doing it on the wall, the arms are just straight ahead of you on the wall, but the legs are more or less in the same position. Yes, yogis. Okay, let's pause with the hips up and the front leg, your version of straight. Can you bring the base of the big toe towards the floor? It may or may not actually touch. Move the pelvis back, move the chest forward, elongate. Yeah, we'll just hold this position. You might get a pretty significant stretch on the right leg, maybe the IT band, depending on what's tight in your body. Nice. Now in a second, we'll head into pigeon pose. If you don't know what that is, watch. And then if you need to do a different version, I'll tell you a few things. So we'll come here, you'll bend the knee, taking the leg and the shin all the way to the floor. And if you need to scooch the right foot in a little bit, absolutely fine. Left leg will come back, and this is the basic pose. If this is no good on the front knee, what you can do instead is lay down on your back and hold this version of the figure four. Yeah, so you can do that if you need to. I'm going to stay here. In the upright position, can you hug the inner thighs towards one another, lift through the belly, and then you can stay up as I am here, or you could come down, maybe the forearms to the blocks or to the floor. You could be completely still. You could add in a little bit of a shift side to side. Yeah, so this position of the hip, it should be somewhat familiar to your body because we just did a whole lot of it, but we didn't really hold the position. So here we are holding. You can imagine that the outside of the right hip had gills like a shark, and the outer hip could breathe. Now, if you're laying on your back, I'll suggest come out of the position and do a couple windshield wipers. If you're on the front, as I am, move the blocks out of the way, and let's just take a downward facing dog. And it might feel nice to move around a little bit. You can lift and lower the heels, shift the hips, take a second. Great. All right, so we'll set up for side two. If you're using the blocks, I'll suggest the medium height, but you can do whatever you need. And then we'll come up here, left foot steps just behind the right block, or if you only have the one block, you'll just do it like that. Yeah, or of course the wall is fine. So we'll bend the knee, lift the chest a little bit, and then go straighter and lift the hips. So every time the knee bends, just check out your left ankle. Make sure it's not sickling. You want to keep that active foot. Every time the hips go up, try to reach the sole of the foot towards the floor. Very similar movement that we were doing on your back and on in your seat. Let's pause here with the legs straight, or your version of straight. Move the pelvis back, move the chest forward. And even though it might not touch the floor, reach the ball of the big toe towards the floor. Oh. All right, so we'll head into the pigeon. If you need to take an alternative, do. If you're coming with me here, let the knee come down, the shin come down, and absolutely fine to pull the foot in if you need to do that. Right leg might want to scooch back. Before you come down, can you hug in a little through the inner thighs, lift up a little through the belly? And you decide if you're staying up, if you're coming down, maybe forearms on the blocks. Maybe you take a little movement. Pretend the outside of the left hip could breathe here. breathe right into the spot that you feel it the most. Or if your spot is not on the outer left hip, breathe in whatever your spot is. You might feel it more, some of you might feel it more in the front of the right thigh. A couple different places you might find it. All right, if you've been on your back, just come into neutral, maybe a few little windshield wipers. If you've been on your front, you can move your props and let's head into downward facing dog. And then for everybody, let's meet in a child's pose just for a second. Great. We'll do one more figure for one in the same family here. So let's come into a seated position and we'll have the left cross-legged left leg in front of the right leg. Maybe I'll show on this side. All right, so pick up the foot and hold on to the foot with the left hand. And at first, just give the leg a little stir. That's it. And then let's pause, sit up tall, keep the knee bent and draw the shin across. Put the right hand on the foot. The left hand now moves to the knee or to the thigh. Sit up tall again and then just take a little rock the leg baby, a little side to side here. That's it. Now for the next position, I'll show two different options. One is a double pigeon. You could adjust the bottom leg so the shin lines up parallel to the short end of the mat. Left ankle to right knee, left knee to right ankle. So it looks like this from the front. And if you're hovering a little, that's fine. You can try lifting the pelvis, scooching back and coming down. If that's a no-go for you, just take Sukhasana again with the left shin in the front. All right, so from your position here, let's take your thumbs, slide them all the way up to the hip creases. Press down as you lift up through the torso, up through the spine. You could stay just as you are, or you might hinge a little bit. Yeah, see if you can do this one without rounding in the back. And then from here, we'll come up to center. Very gently untangle your legs. Let's just stretch them out for a second in front. Give them a little Bhavasana. And then for side two, the right one will start in front. And let's hold on to the foot with the right hand, and just give a little stir. Right hand to right foot, stir. And then we'll pause, sit up really tall and change hands. So right foot, left hand, and then the right hand's just at the knee or the thigh. And take a little side to side here, rock the leg baby. Now here too, can you keep the foot in that active position that I demonstrated rather than letting it sickle or turn in? And then we'll pause, your choice, either the double pigeon, stacking the shins, or right shin in front of the left shin. If you need to, let's actually everybody do this. Lift the pelvis, scooch back, and then come down. And then take your thumbs, slide them up high to the hip creases. Press down to lift up. Maybe you stay put, maybe you hinge. Oh, yes. Now, I didn't mention it on side one. If you want to take the arms out in front of you, that's an option. Great. So let's head back to center. Very, very gently undo the legs. So you might want to take a little jiggle again. All right, now if you have a block, I'll recommend it for the next one. If you don't have a block, you'll be fine. So we'll come to lay down on your back. And if you do have a block, just lift the hips, slide it under the pelvis, and come like so. If that's not working for you, You can just do a few gentle up and down bridges, lift and lower, but I'll suggest don't go too high for these, just a little bit to create a little open space through the front of the hips. And then if you've been going up and down, we'll pause the next time you're down. If you've been using the block, slide it out, come back down. Let's take the legs long on the floor, but wide. About as wide as the mat, even wider is fine. And then arms out to the side, straight out from the shoulders. So you're off your mat here, you're taking up a lot of space. Turn your head to look right, towards the right hand, and just gradually start to peel the right arm up off the floor. You curl the fingers, the wrist, the elbow. Now the arm reaches in front of the chest, and you'll go to the left and reach the right arm even further than the left arm. So the right pelvis is off the floor, and the right big toe is still on the floor. So it's like you're trying to roll over, but you don't get all the way there. Then pretend somebody's pulling your right big toe down away from the pelvis, so much so that you start to reverse the direction. The hip comes down, the shoulder comes down, the arm, and we land. So we'll do the second side. Turn your head left and start to peel up through the left fingers, the left arm. The arm will reach over and beyond. Left big toe is still on the floor, and then it pulls down away from your head. The hip comes to the floor, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, the hand. Let's do it again on each side, and I won't say the pattern, so you can make it up if you don't remember. All right, and then the next time you land, let's narrow your legs a little, just so they're not quite so wide. You'll keep the backs of the heels touching, kind of pressing into the mat, and then you'll do a very quick pointed flex of the feet. And what we want to happen here is the heels catch the floor, so your whole body ends up doing a little bit of jiggle action up and down. And if you want to make noise, you can just blah, 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 blah. All right, friends, when you're ready to let this one go, just let the movement die down. And here we are in Shavasana, final resting pose. If you're not comfortable here, make any adjustment that you need. Take one last little check-in of your imprint into the sand. Notice if the grooves are different than they were at the very beginning. Let's see if you can let the whole front of your body relax and just drop down into the back of the body. Let the back of the body widen and drop down into the sand. Allow your breath to move through you. bring your awareness back to your body. Start to move a little bit through your fingers, your toes. It might feel good to turn your head from side to side. Eventually, your knees bend and roll over to one side. We'll meet up in a seated position, taking hands to heart center. Thank your body for everything that it's able to do. And thank yourself for showing up. Namaste.